In the confusion of Job's thoughts, how could they be other than confused? In the presence of the awful contradiction of two such facts staring each other in the face, that God was just, yet punishing a righteous man as if he were wicked. While he was not yet able to generate or to receive the thought that approving love itself might be inflicting or allowing the torture, that such suffering as his was granted only to a righteous man, that he might be made perfect, I can well imagine that at times, as the one moment he doubted God's righteousness, and the next cried aloud, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him," there must in the chaos have mingled some element of doubt as to the existence of God. Let not such doubt be supposed a yet further stage in unbelief. To deny the existence of God may, paradoxical as the statement will at first seem to some, involve less unbelief than the smallest yielding to doubt of his goodness. I say yielding, for a man may be haunted with doubts, and only grow thereby in faith. Doubts are the messengers of the living one to rouse the honest. They are the first knock at our door of things that are not yet, but have to be understood, and theirs, in general, is the inhospitable reception of angels that do not come in their own likeness. Doubt must precede every deeper assurance, for uncertainties are what we first see when we look into a region hitherto unknown, unexplored, unannexed. In all Job's begging and longing to see God, then, may well be supposed to mingle the mighty desire to be assured of God's being. To acknowledge is not to be sure of God. One great point in the poem is that when Job hears the voice of God, though it utters no word of explanation, it is enough to him to hear it. He knows that God is, and that he hears the cry of his creature. That he is there, knowing all about him and what had befallen him, is enough. He needs no more to reconcile seeming contradictions, and the worst ills of outer life become endurable. Even if Job could not, at first, follow his argument of divine probability, God settled everything for him when, by answering him out of the whirlwind, he showed him that he had not forsaken him. It is true that nothing but a far closer divine presence can ever make life a thing fit for a son of man, and that for the simplest of all reasons, that he is made in the image of God, and it is for him absolutely imperative that he should have in him the reality of which his being is the image. While he has it not in him, his being, his conscious self, is but a mask, a spiritual emptiness. But for the present, Job, yielding to God, was calmed and satisfied. Perhaps he came at length to see that, if anything God could do to him would trouble him so as to make him doubt God, if he knew him so imperfectly who could do nothing ill, then it was time that he should be so troubled, that the imperfection of his knowledge of God and his lack of faith in him should be revealed to him, that an earthquake of his being should disclose its hollowness, and, at the same time, bring to the surface the gold of God that was in him. To know that our faith is weak is the first step towards its strengthening. To be capable of distrusting is death. To know that we are, and cry out, is to begin to live. To begin to be made such that we cannot distrust, such that God may do anything with us, and we shall never doubt him. Until doubt is impossible, we are lacking in the true, the childlike knowledge of God. For either God is such that one may distrust him, or he is such that to distrust him is the greatest injustice of which a man can be guilty. If then we are able to distrust him, either we know God imperfect, or we do not know him. Perhaps Job learned something like this. Anyhow, the result of what he had had to endure was a greater nearness to God. But all that he was required to receive at the moment was the argument from God's loving wisdom in his power to his loving wisdom in everything else. For power is a real and a good thing, giving an immediate impression that it proceeds from goodness. Nor, however long it may last after goodness is gone, was it ever born of anything but goodness. In a very deep sense, power and goodness are one. In the deepest fact, they are one.